Kai, why this video so long?
I have no intention of killing you. My plan was to torture you so you would awaken, that's all.
Claymore belongs to a small group of media that is enjoyable to audience members who want to put a lot of thought into the implications of the story, and also audience members who want to potato. The audience is free to choose if they want to focus on Grills chopping up monsters, or focus on the more subtle aspects that are sprinkled into the events at hand. The audience is given the impression that not much is known about the world of Claymore, and even the wise exposition dumpers don't know that much. In fact, they tend to be wrong when they do offer information. This aspect adds an air of mystery and excitement for the audience as they explore and discover the world. It also knows how to use unknown information to its advantage.
Now will likely be your only chance to possess the body of a Claymore. If it pleases you, I will travel with your party until each and every one of you is satisfied. Any takers?
I think I'll pass. Let's go.
I don't know exactly how a group of horny bandits in very limited visibility would be so completely repulsed by her physique, but I'm sure that my imagination is more satisfactory than if they had attempted their own realization. Claymore utilizes a speed and technique-based combat style that, while difficult to pull off, inherently avoids the "my spirit bomb is bigger than yours because friends" dilemma that many shonen entries struggle to overcome. Claymore proves that nobody is safe when it comes to the cast. This willingness to do away with important characters allows for real tension in combat sequences. Claymore forms a habit of creating rules and then later breaking those rules. Where this concept lends itself to plot convenience, Claymore is very careful to suggest that there's a tangible explanation for the inconsistency, or that there's a hidden motive that is responsible for the rule. Does the shadowy shadow organization really care if humans are killed so long as there are no outside witnesses? Or is it an excuse to excise potentially uncontrollable members of its flock? Well, Ophelia-chan here does whatever the fook she wants. However, she's conveniently strong enough to be useful and weak enough to be rooted out if she ever poses an actual problem. Unfortunately, Claymore is not able to maintain this level of quality throughout the entire runtime. Several episodes could have been consolidated or removed altogether. A significant portion of the episodes could have been summarized as, "and then nothing happened." Very slowly. Claymore is truly puzzling. It achieves so much, so creatively, and then it has to go and do shit like this.
Let's see. I know what your new name is. It's Claire. How does that sound? What? Are you telling me that Claire is your name? It is? Then it's settled. From now on, you're Claire. Claire was one of the twin goddesses. She was beautiful, virtuous, and good. And her goddess twin was named Teresa, just like me.
Sorry, I'm lactose intolerant and the vast quantity of cheese that just got shoved down my throat came out of fucking nowhere. Claymore has a tendency to over-explain itself, often in the form of tiresome exposition, which is odd because at other junctures it proves that it is more than capable of explaining complicated and subtle story elements through action rather than speech. Claymore has a bad habit of destroying its powerful forward momentum by interjecting the sentiments of its worst character. The ending is also AIDS. It breaks from the combat style based in technique and speed and devolves into a repetitive and unengaging screaming match. The cardinal sin of characterization is to kill off characters and assume that the audience cares, without developing them. Claymore has little if any problem with this concept.
Someone, please help. Please, I'm begging you. My friends are... Oh my god!
Hang in there. Hey.
Please, you must contact the organization for me. It was too strong and...
Can you tell me what happened? Did an awakened being do this?
Are you one of us? Promise me, you'll try to save my friends. They're still alive. They're alive. There's something different about this one. the Yoma are plotting something. Please, just save them.
Hold on.
So you're telling me that she hiked down from that mountain for miles, in that injured state, with no regard to her own well-being, without stopping to at least try and heal herself, also that she can try and get help for her friends that she's probably known for all of 3 days? Damn. I guess that's how you establish strong ethos and pathos for a character in 30 seconds. Claymore knows how to get the most out of his characters, for better or for worse. They're presented in a way where their principles and temperaments are made easily understandable to the audience. Not only are they presented and developed individually with great skill, but the way in which they are able to interact and grow from interactions with other characters is handled spectacularly. Teresa, who is introduced in episode 5, and coincidentally the point where people start liking this series, is an extraordinary manifestation of fiction. Because of her apparent and overwhelming strength, she plays well with the plot concepts. She can generally make any situation pan out in her favor, and makes the conscious choice not to in many scenarios, which illuminates facets of her character. An overwhelming nihilism, lack of purpose, and hopelessness radiates from her core, which is inherently odd for someone of her strength. Her interactions with this Imoto-chan are remarkable in that she is able to show the audience so much of herself and grow in front of their eyes. Despite the Claymore units being supposedly emotionless and cold, there are some really emotionally potent, electrically charged even, moments during the runtime. The connections between the Claymore become very tangible. Claire is very much a self-loathing lightning rod as she regularly gets severely injured during the events at hand. Ophelia is the living, breathing manifestation of the production breaking its own rules. Claymore is supposed to be emotionless, obedient, lawful, quiet, and stable. She is very much the opposite, providing stark contrast. It infuses a lot of fun into the production. Where I understand that they tried to make the series more palatable to your Dragon Ball Z monkey, it is disappointing that they didn't explore some of the more subtle aspects that could have pushed Claymore's characterization quality into the stratosphere. Ah, I almost forgot Rocky. This Fargan ice hole is supposed to be the vehicle for the audience to relate to the proceedings, and he very nearly ruins the entire production. Rocky is clearly a tacked on afterthought, and I can only imagine what the mangaka's conversation with his editor must have been to spawn this garbage.
Oh, pretty good. But you know what would make this better? If we add a 12-year-old with daddy problems.
So, more useless Shinji Ikari?
Oh, perfect.
He is supposed to provide an emotional foil, but winds up being an incessant, whiny interruption to the proceedings. I will say that he becomes more ignorable with repeated viewings. What do you know? Rocky's crying. It makes me happy. Usually the more intense and screamy performances, particularly from female actors, come from the Japanese dubs. Fortunately, the large list of women in the English dubcast went really hard during their performances. They must have been inspired by either the content, chance to play a darker and more serious womanly role, or each other in order to produce a dub of this quality. Brina Palencia is able to balance Priscilla's naive nature with her thirst for recognition and maturity. Caitlin Glass's Deneva and Jamie Markey's Helen are able to balance each other, while Monica Real's Miria is focused and authoritative. Laura Bailey is able to highlight Jean's vulnerable tendencies next to her rigid and principled exterior. The dub also has the dubious honor of being directed by more than half a dozen people. It is nothing short of miraculous that the performances and vision stayed consistent throughout. Christine Otten must have had a natural affinity for playing a character like Teresa because she pops off early and hard as Teresa. Her performance is lacking the playful element that both Romy Parks and the manga detailed, however she proves that Teresa's potential playfulness is extraneous. She sells Teresa's nihilistic and beaten down pride admirably. Her performance during scenes where Teresa is emotionally detached and emotionally present are both remarkable. Lucy Christian also happens to pop off in her role as Ophelia, bringing sadism to a boil and mirth to a cynical climax. She is able to transition from anger, excitement, cruel glee, stark arrogance, and despair at the drop of a hat, which was instrumental in the realization of Ophelia. Also, it's hilarious comparing her performance as Ophelia to her performance as Duck from Princess Tutu.
Oh my gosh! Fakir!
off. It's the last of Muto's heart shards. And Muto asked me to give it back to him, but Muto said he wants to make Rue his princess. And I know he wants to save her from the Raven. But it just won't come off.
Where are you? Why did you leave me? You promised. You promised me! That bitch. She won't get away with this. Brother, what brother? Who the hell am I talking about? Like I care about some weakling human who let himself get killed with a fucking smile on his face. Like I give a damn about that lousy, worthless son of a bitch. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you! Fuck you!
The English dub features a layering technique for the Yoma and Awakened Beings monster dialogue rather than pitching down normal owly dialogue.
The effect sounds something like this.
It gives the monsters a very distinct sound and also allows the director to bring the human or monster aspects of the voice to the forefront for dramatic effect. This offers the audience additional insight into the character's thoughts. The Japanese dub feels a little over-directed and unfocused in spite of the laundry list of extremely talented seiyuu. The result isn't bad by any stretch of the imagination, but it is stiffer and less colorful. The music is remarkably effective at creating tension and lending significance to the events at hand. It is helpful in allowing the production to change gears fluidly, as the sequence of events can rapidly change from exposition to tearful character interaction to a rage-induced brawl. It does tend to be a little repetitive, particularly during the early stages of the production. However, it is very accurately utilized and so effective in illuminating and exfoliating the proceedings. The tender segments are heart-touching, the exciting segments are riveting, and the uncertain segments have an air of mystery and desperation. Music offers insight into the mind of the warriors, which is a lovely touch since they are so stoically presented. A medley of instrumentation is used, but it all manages to fit into the fantastical medieval world that Claymore inhabits. It jumps around from slow, soulful piano pieces to distorted guitar riffs and even bagpipes. The OP Raison d'etre presents the audience with a ragged pursuit for purpose in one's existence and poses that perhaps it is the relationships that we form rather than our goals that are meaningful to our existence. The ED Guilty Skies is a soulful rendition that focuses on the concept of loss and the persistence of human memory. Moreover, the musical score has a certain polish to it that nearly every production lacks. This is an excellent example of a highly impactful score that is nearly flawless. The background art of the show is nothing short of spectacular. The environments include copious amounts of detail, are influential to the tone of the scenes, and are quite varied, easily among the best in anime. The color palette utilized is largely neutral and dark. The reasoning for employing such a color palette is typically to invoke a sense of atmosphere or to create the opportunity for contrast. Claymore is a master of contrast in that it dramatizes both lighting and blood against the dark backdrop. A lot of attention was put into identifying light sources, and not only making the animation consistent around the light sources, but also dramatizing the effect. The cinematography is beyond creative. I haven't ever seen a production that has anywhere near the decadence in the amount nor the varied selection of camera angles and camera motion. It goes a long way towards adding some sort of motion to the otherwise immobile proceedings. The motion tunnels and delayed cuts go a long way towards making the combat exciting and invigorating in spite of the quick-paced nature. So this is like some of the best animation of all time, right? Why doesn't it look like that? Well, that's mostly because the character designs are very rudimentary and lacking in detail. Even the hair, which tends to be the only outward defining trait, is lifeless and again lacking in detail. I get it, the exterior is supposed to be a metaphor for their unemotional interior, washed out, but at some point you have to give the audience something to look at. Most of your audience cares about what the babes look like, not how detailed your wall is. There were also some painfully obvious spots where the budget and or time ran thin. All said, Claymore gets almost all of the small stuff right and stumbles over some of the big stuff, namely consistency. How exactly am I supposed to tell you that the characterization is excellent, the art is overwhelming, and the vocal performance is extraordinary when it goes and pulls shit like this? Dad, can I have a mutant apple? Dad, why does the furniture look better than us? And move more. Claymore earns an 8 out of 10. Thumb and subscribe. I mean, if you still have hands.